Hello and welcome to my four-part workshop series called Finding Your Way When You Don't Know What You're Doing. Part one, we are going to be talking about the equation for employment. Okay. So first off, when we're looking for a career, we have to first ask ourselves, well, how do we find a job? Because careers start off as jobs. You might have heard a lot of different things. You need to write up a resume, you need to apply, you need to have startup capital, and all these other sorts of things to get a job. Well, I'm here to break down the requirements for a job to its bare essentials. And I've reduced it to this idea called the equation for employment. So regardless of whether you want to work for a big company or you want to build your own business, if you want to get paid, you have to follow the equation for employment. And there are three essential items that you need if you want a job. Number one, you need to have a skill. So maybe you are a great speaker, or maybe you're good with math and you're good with money, or you are good with children, or you can drive a truck over long periods of time. You just need a skill. Secondly, you need a person to recognize that you have that skill. You might be able to drive for long periods of time, but if people don't know you can do it, you won't get paid to do it. Lastly, you need a person willing to trade that skill for money. Even if people know you can drive for long periods of time, if no one is hiring people to drive for long periods of time, you won't have a job. So you need those three things. You need the skill, you need someone to know you have that skill, and you need people who are willing to pay you for that skill. 1 + 2 + 3 equals getting a job. Now, just to illustrate how this equation works, I have presented two hypothetical scenarios. The first scenario I'm presenting is the traditional employee, the person who is looking to apply to a big company or big organization, like you want to work for Google or IBM or Cisco or the government or just any sort of large organization. So let's say your skill is that you have a college degree in biology. Okay, that's your specialty. Now, how do you get people to recognize your skill? Well, you can send out resumes and you can network. You can go to college alumni events or high school alumni events or industry events, and you can advertise to the world that you are a biology major looking for work. Now, lastly, how do you find someone who will trade that skill for money? How do you find someone who will hire biology majors? Well, you can go on job search websites. You can also go to a particular job recruiter. They basically act out like an agent where you send them your information and the job recruiter can pair you with companies that are hiring. And hopefully, after a period of time, you can land a job as a lab technician for Moderna. Now, I do want to note that it is very common to get a job that does not match your field of study in college. I was just creating a scenario where this person was particularly targeting a job in the biotech industry. But keep in mind, it's very common to get a job that is not related to your field of study in college. But what if you don't want to work for a big company? What if you want to start your own company? How would the equation for employment work here if you wanted to be an entrepreneur? Well, let's say your skill is that you are an artist. Let's say your style is a little dark and edgy. You like to draw horror type themes like I don't know, like Friday the 13th, sort of Freddy Krueger type art. but you're also a Disney file. So Alice in Wonderland, Ariel from Little Mermaid, etc. Well, how do you get people to recognize your skill? Well, you could go to social media, right? Instagram, TikTok, and put your art and advertise it through social media. You could do collaborations with social influencers. Let's say there's a mega fan of Friday the 13th, and you decide to do a series of prints based off of Friday the 13th, and you share them with a social influencer, and that person then shares your art with their followers. Well, now a lot of people recognize that you are that person who does that really cool, dark, edgy, horror, Disney-esque art style, right? Now, how do you find someone who will trade that skill for money? Well, unlike the person applying for a job at a company where they're only looking for one entity that will trade that skill for money, you are looking for many people who will trade your skill for money. We call them customers. And so you can find customers at fan conventions. You could rent a booth at a Comic-Con and you can sell your art there. You could also have a personal website and go onto eBay or Etsy and post your art there and sell there. In this case, your job is to sell artist prints. And I am citing this particular website, benrussell.com, because it's run by my classmate from high school, Benji Russell. And he is an excellent artist. I've taken a screenshot here of his work so you can see that he has this, again, dark, edgy style. These prints here, I believe, are based off of the Haunted Mansion. And so these are things that he has done to help build his business. So please go ahead and check out his website. I really want to support him. He's a great guy and an excellent artist. So in conclusion, when finding a job, regardless of the era, whether it was 20 years ago or today or 20 years from now, the equation for employment applies. These are the three essentials that you need if you want a job. Number one, you need to have a skill. Number two, you need a person who recognizes that you have that skill. And three, you need a person willing to trade that skill for money. Okay, if you have those three things, you're going to get a job. Now, in our next video, we will discuss a technique that will help identify our skills, the first part of our equation for employment, and that tool is called mind mapping. I'll see you in part 2. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you liked what you saw, please click the thumbs up button below. Also, if you want to watch more of my videos, or you want to catch me on an office hours live stream, please click subscribe to Sophos Tutor.